Well, John, it looked as though that Essendon will run to the pump in the first, I think, 10 minutes. Hawthorn had 4 goals, 4 to 1 goal.
Yeah, I certainly had the running. I was probably very lucky because the ball followed me for the first 5 minutes, so if there were any pre-game nerves, then that would have certainly knocked them out. But great game so far.
And you had the first bounce?
Yeah, some things never change in footy. The haircut was different, the shorts were different, but the first bounce was still crooked.
Also on the umpiring too, a lot of 15 metres in those times. I saw you noting down the stats during that quarter that we watched. Yeah,
my recollection was that this was the game that sort of prompted all the discussion about a 15-metre penalty not being a substantial enough penalty for delaying play. From memory, the stats for the game were about 27 against Essendon and less than 10 against Hawthorn, and in that quarter it was 5 against Essendon and 1 against Hawthorn, so it certainly seems as though that's the case.
And becoming so prevalent, of course, that we had to do something about it.
Yeah, and it's a classic example of umpiring reacting to things that the clubs spring upon us. We can never be ahead of what the clubs do. The coaches are devising these tactics and we're always trying to catch up and fix it up.
Well, it's like a tax collector. Everyone's trying to sort of, you know, put him under pressure by thinking a bit ahead. For those of you who are wondering why Paul Salmon isn't there, he was out injured with a bad knee injury in round 13, so that's why, and that's a big blow, was a big blow to Essendon, wasn't it, not to have him, because he started off that year from memory in a tremendous vein. Yeah,
that's right. In fact, it looks as though they might be a little bit short over the ground, but certainly the way the game was played, it was a running game rather than played in the air.
Now, if this had been your first game as a recruit and I was the coach, I would have been very pleased with your courage because you gave a deliberate out-of-bounds to Thompson in the opening seconds of this game, and the poor bloke had Hawthorn people all over him like a rash, and I thought that was very tough.
Yeah, no, look, his only intention was to put the ball out of bounds.
Lots of times a mind reader too, are you?
Lots of times I'm wrong, but I don't think I was wrong that time.
But the point was you had the courage. Another thing I noticed too was that a lot of torpedo punts being used, and that's gradually been dropped out of the game, which is a pity.
Yeah, the torpedo punt was a little bit unpredictable, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why it's going out.
Yeah, but yeah, the game certainly changed.
Another thing we noticed too was there's no great southern stand.
Yeah, it's very noticeable when you get that shot from the northern side of the ground that the southern stand is missing. It looks very, very different. It looks like it's come from the 20s or the 30s rather than the 80s.
And we saw a couple of stars there who have went on to have even greater careers and went now in coaching. Judge, he got the first couple of goals. They were very, very good goals.
Kicked the first couple, and kicking was just fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, the second one was just a great shot at goal, and to be able to have that composure in that environment and kick a goal or kick the ball that well is just fantastic skill to possess.
And Dipper too, I mean...
Dipper 1 was bad enough, but Dipper 2.
Dipper also, I mean, he was actually loved the finals because there's a bit of show pony in Dipper, as we all know, and that's nothing wrong with that, and he makes no pretence that it's otherwise, but he used to just love the big games.
Yeah, some people perform better in that environment and others perform worse, and Dipper was just one of those blokes that performed better.
Did you think your performance as an umpire was better in finals?
I can't say overall it was. Certainly in this game, if I could have umpired the way I umpired in this particular game throughout my career, I would have been very happy. But I must admit, sometimes in finals I felt as though I performed poorly, and the appropriate action was taken by the selection committee.
And I presume the supporters too. Now, we've had a great first quarter, and I reckon the second quarter is going to be just as good.